All right, welcome back to another one of our film reviews. Today we are talking Pittsburgh Steelers rookie defensive lineman Derrick Harmon. Harmon is continuing to impress on the Steelers front. He's doing a good job in the run game and the pass game. We're going to highlight everything he's doing so well, and while he'll continue to be a huge part of the Steelers defense going forward, as always, in the comment section below, give us any feedback you might have. If you're a fan of these film reviews and want to support us in doing more of them, consider becoming a member of our channel. It's a big help to us. There's a link in the description box below that will take you right there. But without further ado, let's jump right into the film. All right, we're going to open up with some pass rush, and there's Harmon right there on the left side of your screen. So here are the Minnesota Vikings. They're going to run a standard pass protection. They're going to have the play side. That's these three guys right here on this particular play. They're all going to take the gap to the right. So center's going to take this gap, right guard's going to take this gap, and right tackle's going to take this gap, and we're going to get man-on-man right here on the backside. Harmon at the snap, he's going to slant this direction into that gap, trying to rush the quarterback. What this means is the center taking this gap, he then takes on Harmon one-on-one, and it basically becomes a one-on-one pass protection drill right here. And Harmon against the center, rookie coming into the game, second appearance, absolutely dominates him, gets great pressure on the quarterback. Let's check it out. There's a snap. Pressure comes. Wentz has to duck away, throw it away, or short check it down. Minimal gain. Good defense. All right, let's look at Derrick Harmon right here in the middle of the field. Okay, he's going to slant to this gap. Watch how he uses his hands right away to strike the center. This is really good technique, folks. One of the things that slanters sometimes can do is they kind of go to the shoulder of offensive linemen and they can get blocked down inside. You can kind of see a little bit here what's happening with Y.A. Black. See how he then bounces outside and he kind of runs around, allows the offensive lineman to run him upfield just a little bit. What you want to do, even when you're slanting, is to attack through him. And that's exactly what you see here from Harmon. Get into the center's chest, drive him back, use that punch, and work through him. My goodness gracious, look at this center. Look at his footwork. He sees Harmon coming. He's got a good base, and he just collapses completely. Harmon gets great pressure. Almost gets hands to the face mask right there. Jeez, that's close. Could have been called. I think that's a good no call. But again, got to be careful going forward. But Harmon, really good job getting pressure right up the middle. That's why you draft these guys, to be playmakers. That's what we're going to talk about today. That's the theme of the day. Derrick Harmon is a playmaker. May not necessarily show up on the stat sheet, but he makes big time plays, causing all kind of distress for opposing offenses. Nice job right here from the rookie. All right, from the wide copy, you can see Harmon right there in the middle of your screen. He's going to slant right through the center, pressure right on the quarterback, has to throw it short for minimal gain. This is how you win, guys. This is how you get red zone stops. Look at the center right here. He's got him and he goes flailing back. Look at that, guys. Is this a good, powerful position for the center to be in? Flailing all over the place. We talked about Y.A. Black last week having a powerful punch. We're starting to see Harmon deliver that punch, guys. He's getting more confident in himself in terms of the timing with his hands. And look at that strike. Walks him back, beats him cleanly. Pressure up the middle, kills an offensive play, kills a quarterback like we see right here. Once he feels that pressure, nothing he can do, has to just shovel it away for a short completion. Nice job by the Steelers D. All right, next up, we're going to go with some run defense, and there's Harmon right there. He's lined up in what we're going to call a 3 technique on the outside shoulder of the guard right here. And once again, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to slant. They're going to have Harmon take this gap. They're going to have 41, even though he's lined up in this gap. He's going to bounce out here just like this. And up front for the Minnesota Vikings, they're going to run a zone scheme to the left side of your screen, the offensive right. And what that means is this tackle's going to take this gap on his own track. This guard's going to take this gap, originally looking for Harmon, but he's actually going to pick up the linebacker scraping over the top. And that means the center, when he takes this gap, he's going to pick up Harmon one-on-one. And Harmon, in this situation, once again, gets into the center, wins cleanly, gets a tackle on the running back. Let's check it out. There's snap, inside run, not a whole lot there, good stuff. Harmon makes the play. All right, let's break this down here. You can see at the snap, 41 scrapes over the top, and then it actually works a little bit to the Minnesota Vikings' benefit. Remember, just trying to power down inside to get a couple yards, but you can see on the backside here, firing 25 right there. That's a nice play right there. Good job by him. But you can see right here, Harmon at the point of attack. This is where you can't give up any ground, because if you get just blown off the football here, it doesn't matter what 25 does. They'll be able to fall forward for the first down. But Harmon does a good job getting into the center, maintaining his gap. Now, his footwork at his pad level, technically that's not great, right? Look at that. You don't want to have your hands like in the old coat hanger position, like in those old 1950s postcards, those football cards. Don't like that, a little too upright. But he fights through it, squares up in the end, and makes the play. And that's the thing about Harmon, right? He's still got things to improve on. He's not perfect by any means, but he's getting there. On certain plays, he's dominant right off the rip. On this play, not so great at the rip, but his counter and finish is outstanding. Nice play from 99. All right, from the wide copy, you're going to see Harmon right there in the middle of your screen. He's going to fire into the center, and his initial contact isn't great, right? Boom, a little too high, but he fights it off, scores up, and makes a tackle. This is just good football, good reaction to what happens. Sometimes you're going to be out of position. Sometimes your technique's going to go. It's going to happen, especially for a rookie. And look, it happens to everybody. It happens to number 90 all the time, right? But it's what you do after that. What is your counter? How do you finish the play? And right here, not in a good position. He's at an angle. He's too high, but he squares up, gets his head down, lowers his pad level, and then makes a tackle. His correction here is absolutely outstanding. Love to see it from the rookie. All right, going with the pass rush again, there's 99 right there, Derrick Harmon, of course. He's lined up in a one technique on the outside shoulder of the center. And once again, the Minnesota Vikings on the play side, and on this play, it's these three guys. They're going to take the gap to their right in their pass protection. Right tackle's taking this gap, right guard's taking this gap. In the center, one-on-one basically on Harmon, and then one-on-one right here on the backside. And look, Harmon is just embarrassing this poor center. I mean, this just isn't a fair matchup. He just bowls right through him, gets pressure right in the quarterback's face, ends up pushing this guy on the ground. I mean, it's just an ugly rep from the center. A nice rep for 99. Let's check it out. There's a snap. Pressure in the face quickly. Throw it. Good defense. Let's look at Harmon right here. Again, this is a quick throw, right? So can't quite get the sack, but look what he does to this poor center. Oh my goodness gracious. Fires out into him and just walks him back right into Carson Wentz's lap. And you can see the quarterback right there, Carson Wentz, he feels it, right? He doesn't step in straight into it. He kind of falls away. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to influence the quarterback with pressure right in his face. And that leads to a little bit of an inaccurate throw, right? I mean, it's probably still should have been caught if you're a Minnesota Vikings fan, 25 closing with good defense. But it's not like he hit him low in the chest, right? You want to hit this low because otherwise you're exposing your receiver's ribs right there. I think a lot of the reason it's elevated is because he feels Harmon bearing down on him right there. Now let's look at Harmon. Fires out into the center, good punch, works through him with good hands, doesn't try and give him his shoulder, doesn't attack the outside so he can get run upfield. No, it just goes right through him, and watch how he finishes his play. Look what he does to the center. Puts him on the ground and then shoves him for good measure. You talk about nastiness, you talk about demeanor, this is what I'm talking about right here. This is good physical stuff from the rookie. All right, from the wide copy, once 99 here from the entire play, start to beginning. A little bit late off the football, but then he walks the center back and then throws him in the ground. You talking about imposing your will? This is what you want to see from defensive linemen. And look, as a former offensive lineman, I used to hate when defensive linemen did this. I'm like, listen, man, the play's over. But if you're trying to impose a mentality, impose an attitude, this is what you do. You walk the center back, he gets on the ground, and then you give him some embarrassment right there just on top of it. That's how you break the will of the opposition. The Steelers, I think, over the past couple of years, they didn't have enough guys where their goal was to break the will of the offense or break the will of the defense if they were on the offensive line. We're starting to see some guys here on this front. Y.A. Black, we're seeing Harmon now, taking that mentality and bringing it every snap. His production is key. His playmaking is awesome, but his attitude is perfect as well. All right, going back to the run defense game, and there's Harmon right there lined up in, oh my goodness, I think I'm going to call that a 2-eye on the inside eye of the guard right there, but pretty close to being a 1 technique on the outside shoulder of the center, but he's basically an A-gap player right here. And the Minnesota Vikings are going to run a standard zone scheme working to the right side of your screen, the offensive left, that direction. Up front, it's just standard zone blocking, so the tight end's going to base reach there. We're going to get zone double team here, working up to the next level. We're going to get scoops on the backside, so the center's going to try and tight scoop here before he works up to the next level to give some help on Harmon, while the backside guard's trying to cut off Harmon right there and just standard scoop stuff everywhere across the board. But Harmon right here, his job is twofold. One is to maintain his gap, right? Don't get blown out of your gap, maintain your gap responsibility. And 2, pursue, right? If you're not going to make the play, you have to pursue and condense the hole, eliminate the cutback. Harmon does a good job here. Let's check it out. There's a snap. There's a zone track. Good defense across the board. Help cleaned up by Harmon. Good job by Pittsburgh. Let's look at these 2 interior defensive linemen, guys. Look at Y.A. Black first. My goodness gracious. Doesn't make the play, but he blows it up. 94-99. That's your future Steelers fans up front, and you should be stoked. I mean, this is awesome from Y.A. Black. Now, he gets reached a little bit just by the nature of him making the play, but he just blows it up completely. Now, let's look at Harmon right here on the backside. I talk about maintaining your gap. Right, he's in his gap. He's pursuing a little high. Again, pad level, something to clean up, I think, when it comes to Harmon. But he pursues, doesn't give up any ground. And I love right here, throws the offensive lineman into the running back. That's what it's all about, guys. Again, imposing your attitude, imposing your will, run defense. Do your job, be physical, and finish. And that's what Harmon does. 94 is doing that too. And that's what we're seeing from the Steelers so far this season that maybe we haven't seen enough over the past couple of years. A little bit of youth movement here up front with guys like Harmon, guys like Black, dominating at the point of attack for the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. After the wide copy, you're going to see Harmon right there in the middle of your screen. Again, doing your job, not getting reached, working over the top, and then pursuing and part of the tackle. That's what it's all about, guys. It's not going to be the prettiest play. No one's going to talk about in terms of highlight films or make the NFL's top 10 defensive plays of last week or anything like that. That ain't going to happen. But it's just good, solid team defense, and that's what wins. effort, team defense, and physicality. That's how you win games in the National Football League, and that's what we're seeing from Derrick Harmon and the Steelers front. All right, quick break in the film review. Look, I was taught to break down film by my college coaches at the Division I level. All the players are. It's just a fact of playing football at that level. And I want to take this opportunity to give you guys, the average fan, more opportunities to get that insider knowledge of how the game is taught at that highest level of college football. I created a checklist, a step-by-step guide for you guys, 100% free. That's based on how I was taught to break down film by my coaches and that I use today to create these film reviews. There's a link in the description box below that'll take you right to it. I really appreciate it if you guys decide to get it. Again, 100% free, just trying to share information to you guys, stuff that was taught to me by my coaches. But without further ado, let's get back into the film. All right, going back to the pass rush game, and there's Harmon right there. He's lined up in what I'm going to call a 2-eye technique on the inside eye of that left guard for Minnesota right there. And you can see it's a passing situation because the Steelers have 3 defensive linemen on the right side of your screen, the offensive left, and TJ Watt all over here by his lonesome on the offensive right, the left side of your screen. Now, what this normally means and how it works out is you're just trying to create one-on-one matchups. So you have a guy like Harmon lined up right here, and he's going to attack through the center. And you're basically trying to create a one-on-one opportunity right here with these two guys, where you have right guard one-on-one and right tackle one-on-one, and you think you can win one of, if not both of these matchups. And Harmon right here, he does his job right here, right there, this 2-eye technique. He wants to pull the center away and get through him and push the pocket. He does a good job of that, but he makes the play on top of it, results in a Steelers takeaway. Let's check it out. There's a snap. Wentz looking to throw, tipped, interception, huge play. All right, Harmon right here, again, playmaker, look at him. Bats the ball. When you get guys in the first round, when you draft these guys in the first round, they're to be playmakers. That's what it's about. Look, we want you to do your job. We want you to play hard. But those are sort of given, right? If you're going to play a lot of snaps, those are 2 things that we expect. But if you're going to be a top flight pick, you got to make plays. Sacks, forced fumbles, stuffs, deflecting passes, leading to interceptions like we see here. This is why you're selected, right? It's one thing to do your job. It's one thing to blow up offensive linemen. Harmon's doing a lot of that, but playmaking is another element that he needs to bring like we see here. All right, from the wide copy, watch Harmon right here. He gets blocked up, bats it up, interception. This is just what you need, right? And now this is a good play. I don't want to undermine this. This is, again, he's blocked up, sees the hand go up, he deflects it. This is really good. This is what you need to do. But this is what we've come to expect from first-round picks. This is what you need from early-round selections. First-round picks, second-round picks, the whole shebang. You need to be playmakers, right? It's not enough to just do your job or to be a good, solid player. You got to make plays to help your team win, and that's exactly what Derrick Harmon does right here. This next play is something I think Derrick Harmon needs to work on. And there he is right there, line up in a 4-eye technique on the inside eye of the right tackle right there for Minnesota. And we've got a 3-4 look defensively for the Steelers. We got 3 defensive linemen, and there we got the 4 linebackers just like that. And in a 3-4 defense, you can do a lot of funky stuff with slants, and that's exactly what we see here. So Harmon's going to slant out this way to this gap. This defensive tackle, his nose guard, is going to go that way, and they're going to fire a linebacker right in here, right? So again, they're trying to create some chaos up front for the Minnesota Vikings offensive line. Minnesota's going to counter by bringing Justin Jefferson in motion pre-snap to try and get some flow from the linebackers and safeties, and then they're going to run a zone scheme with kind of a design cutback built into it. Everyone's going to take their zone tracks just like this up front right here, but they're going to take the 87, the tight end, that H-back over there, across the formation to kick out and seal the right side of the Steelers defense, and like I said, the running back's going to cut back right here. Now, this is a situation where Harmon, he's putting a tough deal, right? He's slanting this way, so he's kind of slanting basically right into the block and away from the running back, but I don't like how slow he is to react here. Something to improve on. Let's check it out. There's the motion. There's a snap. There's a zone track. There's a cutback. Decent little run right there from Minnesota. All right, let's look at Derrick Harmon right here. Again, you're going to see all the way back to the very beginning. He's going to step to the right. Okay, right here, you're too far upfield. You don't react well. Kind of look a little unathletic there, to be totally honest, right? Now, he's a great athlete. I'm not picking on him. He's 10 times the athlete I am. I'm just saying this doesn't look as good as we've seen Derrick Harmon do in the past in these kind of situations. And right here, throttle it down, break down, right? You can see right here where you can look on the outside. See how TJ Watt's more under control? That's what you need to play like. And this is a situation here where Harmon's supposed to take on this block. Either that or there's a missed assignment somewhere. Maybe Harmon was supposed to slant inside, and maybe that was just a mistake from 99's perspective. I'm going to assume he did what was right in the huddle just because I don't know what was called in the huddle, and I can't assume otherwise. But it does look kind of funky that you got TJ Watt and Harmon right next to each other. But this is a situation here. If you're going to slant out, zone scheme, very common in the National Football League, you got to be ready for that split zone, that tight end block coming right at you, and engage, compress the hole. He kind of runs around it, opens up the running lane right there for the Minnesota Vikings. Again, they have the tight end coming. There's 2 Steelers there to make the tackle because Harmon runs out of the way. Hodkinson can pick up Watt, opens up a little bit of crease for Minnesota. All right, from the wide copy, you can see at the top of your screen, Harmon's just going to slant outside, kind of run himself out of the play, opens up a little bit of run there. And again, I'm not saying this is a situation where you have to like really throttle down and not commit up the field at all, but you got to be more under control. So right here, you got to recognize there's a tight end, throttle it down, break down, and throw your body upfield because you basically block yourself. Defensive lineman, rule number one there's a lot of rules to play defensive lineman. So I'll just say this. Rule number 3. How about this? Rule number 1 is do your job. Rule number 2 is finish. Rule number 3, don't block yourself. And this is a situation right here where Harmon blocked himself. And I think he'll clean it up. This is what film review's for. This is what study's for. And look, he's a rookie. There's things that he's going to improve on. Like every player has things to improve on. But this is something he definitely needs to clean up going forward. All right, let's end on a pass rush opportunity here for Derrick Harmon, and he's right there, line up again in a 4-eye technique for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We got 5 guys at the line of scrimmage, right? Again, it's that 3-4 kind of look the Steelers like to run. And what the Minnesota Vikings do, and most teams handle it this way, is they have what they call the play side in this play, which is these 3 guys, left tackle, left guard, and the center. They take the gap to the left, which basically means it's going to be man-on-man here, man-on-man here, and then man-on-man here, right there. Basically, he's going to pick up the nose guard before it's all said and done, and they're going to get one-on-one right here. Because that's just the structure of how it normally goes. Now, what happens with the Steelers is they slant this way right here, so the tackle ends up picking up him as 51 drops into coverage. We basically get a double team on the nose guard, and that means Harmon right here, line up in the 4-eye. He's going to be one-on-one on this right guard right here for the Minnesota Vikings. And guys, Harmon, he powers through this guy once again, gets great pressure on the quarterback, and finishes the play, embarrasses the right guard. He's been beating up the center. Here he beats up the right guard. Let's check it out. There's a snap. Pressure in the quarterback's face. It's a good ball and a good first down for Minnesota. Give credit where credit is due. But let's look at Harmon right here again, right in the quarterback's face. Fire off the football, get into the guard, walk him into the quarterback. Quarterback can't really step into it. Still a good ball. Hey, look, got to give credit here to Carson Wentz, hanging in there and delivering a good football, right? And the receiver, who's that, Jefferson? Yeah, I mean, he's a good player. That's just the way it goes sometimes. It's National Football League. The other guy has good players. Harmon, though, he's a good player. Look him get into 76, walk him back, and then finish. Put him on the ground. Look at this position right here. That's not a great position. Bottom of your screen, that's like that Platoon movie, right? That's like what? That Charlie Sheen movie way back in the day where he's just on his knees, just with his hands flailing. Not a great position to be right there. And that's what you get from Derrick Harmon. Physical, tough. Sometimes he's not perfect. We highlighted some things he needs to improve on, but he brings the right attitude. He's got the right technique. He's got a punch that's getting better and better, and he's got a great finish. Run game, pass rush, he can do it all. Play side, backside, beating centers, beating guards. This is a heck of a player for Pittsburgh.